Welcome back, guys. And don't worry, this is just water. Welcome again to the second part of this episode, where we talk about postpartum depression and PTSD.
Yeah, Leilani's definitely the star of the show this time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have already listened to part 1 of this, which was my bipolar and schizophrenia diagnoses, and now we're here to talk about her specific diagnosis.
And if you haven't, you need to pause this and go back, okay? Because, that one's first for a reason, okay?
Yep.
So, Anywho, also make sure you got some tissues, okay? Because we're going on a freaking field trip again.
So grab your coffee, your tea, your water, whatever your drink of choice is, and enjoy.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. So I guess to start off, I would like to talk about the lesser of two evils for me. And I'm not saying that it's the lesser of two evils for other people, okay? But me personally, I feel like my PTSD to an extent is not near as difficult as my postpartum, especially because I have children, and they mean everything to me. So my PTSD stems from childhood trauma, as well as 2 sexual assaults in my life. One when I was 7 until I turned 11, and the other happened in the military. And with my type of PTSD, I'm very anxious. I get triggered very easily with certain, words. There's a specific song to this day, and it's been like 3 years that I still can't listen to. And it's Tennessee Whiskey, not sponsored. But when I get triggered, I get very antsy. I have full-blown anxiety and panic attacks, which make everyday life pretty difficult for me when I do have these sprouts of, depression, anxiety, and things like that. I will admit that every day living with this kind of PTSD has me on edge with how my son is raised. I, at first, wasn't very attached to my son because of my sexual assault. I was afraid to raise a man, basically, because I was afraid no matter what I do, he'll turn out to be like my rapist, essentially, which took a lot of therapy. And since then, me and my son, we have an amazing relationship.
Love that boy.
Gets on my nerves, don't get me wrong, but we have an amazing relationship. But that is a lot of how my everyday life got affected. I didn't trust men. I was very defensive over certain things, even aggressive in moments. When I started feeling like I was being attacked or put in these positions where no wasn't going to be a feasible answer. And I would say since then, therapy and medication have probably been the 2 things that have saved my life. I actually had a suicide attempt January of 2020, so about a little less than a year before or after it happened. And I decided to do that kind of on a whim. It wasn't premeditated or anything, but I had gotten an email from my attorney that he had been granted an other than honorable discharge, didn't have to register as a sex offender, and pretty much got to go out and live his life, at least what I thought. And I was pretty fucking broken. And so I did. I tried to take my life. And it's like I said, just all the therapy, God, the fucking concoctions of medications that
guys,
I've been on to deal with this.
We can't stress enough. It takes both medication and therapy. You can't just rely on one or the other.
Yeah. And I want to apologize right now if I'm a little flustered in talking about this because I still get triggered in moments.
No, I just want to say real quick, and I don't mean to interrupt, I'm very fucking proud of you right now because this is the first time you've actually openly discussed this with anybody other than me and, a direct family and a therapist.
Yeah, this is hard. I'm shaking my leg 1,000 right now. So if I'm a little all over the place, I do apologize. This is just a very still real thing for me and in my life. But to ease some of my pain right now, Brendan, would you like to explain to them what it's like living with my PTSD?
Absolutely. So, Leilani's always been very open about what's going on and why. And, in sense of doing so early on in our relationship, I have been able to learn like signs that she's going through a PTSD episode. And, the few things that I can do, a lot of the times I hold her, and just bring her comfort. But the biggest thing is constantly reminding her that she's safe, that she's with me. And I assure her that, our son, given the morals that I was raised on as a child, the only thing we can do is work our best to make sure he's the best man possible. I'm constantly reminding her when she has a PTSD episode that it's not real, that this is her reality. Oftentimes I have her look me directly in my eyes, and that way she sees me, because, the eyes are indeed the gateway to the soul. It's like a wide open door. And when she has eye contact with me, when I can get her to calm down to that level, I constantly just sit there and remind her that she's safe. I give her guided breaths, deep breaths. And when I say guided deep breaths, I'm not just sitting here saying breathe in and breathe out. So when I tell her to breathe in, I tell her, like, feel the pain, feel the hurt.
And then release it.
And then on the exhale, release.
Yeah,
and
very
then,
meditative, yeah.
And then I'll remind her, inhale, remember you're an awesome mom and an awesome wife. And when you exhale, release all negative thoughts in that area of your life.
Yeah, the affirmations.
Affirmations with the deep breaths. I'm telling you guys, it can work wonders. It really can.
And I want to make it known, too, that he is so patient. I'm not going to say exactly when, but we were out and about, and I had such a bad episode that I physically locked up, as in, like, I couldn't move. Like, my hands were stuck, my legs were stuck, my heart was racing, and I felt like I was paralyzed. And, in some instances, somebody that doesn't understand, they just be like, just get up. Like, come on, get up. The kids are whatever. Like, you got to get up. But he's so patient and understanding that I can't help it. And I think that patience also really is what's helped me open up more to you about the things that I'm going through, or the things that are going on as well. So patience is a big key in, I think, any mental health.
Absolutely. And not saying that if you're not a Christian, you're a bad person, because we don't judge here.
No, we don't.
But during that episode, I brought in, because we're both religious and also spiritual. So I brought her a very grounding stone. It was obsidian. And I brought her my gold rosary, and I put the rosary around her neck, and I told her to just rub the stone. And, eventually we got her out of it, and I got her tucked in bed. I fixed what may had triggered said situation. Nothing that I did.
No, it wasn't you at all.
Just something that I noticed in the room that might have been why she got triggered. I adjusted that, and I laid her down, and I held her until she fell asleep. And we got it all taken care of. And in the morning we woke up and we had a great day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It really is, like she said, it's about patience. And I had my mom, actually. No, it wasn't my mom. It was my Aunt Ashy. Shout out Aunt Ashy, because I know you listen. She was like, Brendan, I don't get where you get this impatience from. And honestly, I can't tell you where it comes from at all, especially being a bipolar 1. But when it comes down to it, patience in moments is necessary. So if you have a spouse who's suffering from any kind of mental disorder, especially PTSD, just be patient with them. And like I said, guided meditated breaths.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
And I want to say, too, because we vowed transparency through this podcast,
Yes.
that as of right now, I am very flustered. I am still healing in a lot of areas when it comes to this, so I don't want you thinking that I'm giving you advice when I'm not okay myself. Because I'll be honest, I'm still not okay. There's times where I am, and I can talk about it without even really crying, and then there's times where it's just extremely hard. And when it comes to sexual assault, I need you to know, or really, it could be any PTSD trauma, that you're going to have ups and downs about it. There's going to be times where you're okay and times that you're not. And again, like I always say, be graceful and respectful of yourself during those times. You know, I could sit here and beat myself up right now because it's been almost 4 fucking years since it's happened. But I'm not, because it's okay that I'm having these feelings. It's okay that I'm still not 100%. I'm feeling these feelings. I'm acknowledging them there, so that's the way that you heal from them.
I'm so fucking proud of you, babe.
I'm like literally boo-hooing over here.
I'm so fucking proud of you. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see. But yeah, I'm so fucking proud of you.
I forgot we were... Oh, shit.
So fucking proud.
Thank you.
Like, this is a really big step for you, and I hope that this goes towards your growth as an individual as well. Being as transparent as you are for the first time.
Yeah, this is fucking rough, man.
So,
I don't think I had enough time to, like, prepare myself for this, but better now than never, right?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm also very proud of you for asking to speak at the first keynote as well. And that's actually got me really excited, and I feel like you're going to help a lot of people with your story, because your story is, like I said, it's what makes you a beautiful soul. So
I'm so lucky.
Even
y'all.
if it's traumatic, even if it's trauma, everything you've gone through is what makes you who you are now. And so the best thing you can do is be transparent.
Yes.
So on
the next part, right?
Yeah, onto the second and what you call the greater of two evils.
No, the lesser. That was the
lesser of
lesser.
two
I did the
evils.
greater first
Okay.
because I knew that I was going to be a little fucked up on this one, you know.
Maybe I misheard. Sorry,
It's
guys.
okay. Or I could have said it wrong, too.
Schizophrenic delusions over here.
So the lesser of two evils to me is my postpartum depression. Oh no, I did say it was the greater because it involved my kids.
Yes.
Duh.
So I'm not hallucinating
You're
this time,
not.
guys.
It's me. I'm the crazy one. No, so it is the greater two evils because it involves my children. Yes. I struggle with postpartum depression. When I was pregnant with my daughter, my oldest, Aria, the doctor told my mother when we went in to see her that I had the worst case of postpartum depression that she's ever seen. Now, I want to let you know that it's not postpartum psychosis. It is just postpartum depression, because sometimes people just put those two hand in hand and they are two completely things. I've never had postpartum psychosis where you hallucinate. It can be visual or auditorial, you know, you can have these scenarios kind of bottle up in your mind, like somebody's going to hurt your baby, things like that. It's a whole different slew of things. I'm just talking about the simple postpartum depression. Postpartum depression can look like many different fucking things. It's many different faces. It could be the mom that looks super happy all the time, but low key lays in her closet and cries and cries. There's the mom that's, you know, tries to be super happy but cannot figure out why she's not really happy being a mom. There's the mom that just does not feel attached to her children, but she doesn't know why. Like, she knows she loves them, but she's just not attached to them. And then there's the ones where it's like they just downright feel alone, they feel helpless, you know, and any of those forms can end up taking their life. Mine was very just that I was not attached to my children. And it wasn't until Evelyn, actually our last child, that I really turned everything around and fought against my postpartum. But my postpartum, like I said, I was not attached to my children. I really wasn't a mom. And unfortunately, I had such a crutch at my mother's house because she would just do it. She would just raise them. You know, she just, instead of pushing me to do it, she would just get up and do it if she heard the baby crying or whatever. I utilized that crutch in the wrong way. And I mean, it wasn't until October 25th of 2021 when I went and got my kids back.
Yep.
And ended up fighting in court, and probably a whole nother podcast on that one. But, you know, I turned my life around. I was pregnant with Evelyn. And, you know, I was like, no, I want to be a fucking mom. Like, I can't keep living like this and, you know, just pushing my kids away when I'm the one that chose to have them. You know, I was missing out on so much. And none of my children, I got to see them walk for the first time. None of my children, except for, it would be Evie, but
yeah,
none of my children, I got to see them crawl for the first time, except for Miguel, because we got Miguel back at about 8 months.
Yep.
I missed first tooths coming in. I missed, some of the first, like, appointments they had. I mean, I missed so fucking much because if I'm being honest and kind of realizing it right now, I think a lot of it was that I didn't want to fuck them up.
Right.
I didn't have, okay, I'm not here to dog my mother, okay? But this is just how I perceived my childhood. I didn't have a very nurturing mother, okay? She wasn't that mom that was like, come here, let me hold you. Everything's going to be okay. I love you. Here's some positive affirmations. I didn't have that. I had a very stern, straightforward, like, woman who, in one hand, that's awesome. Like, my mom is so fucking strong, man.
You had a military mom.
Yeah, but if you knew half of the shit that my mother went through and how she still carries on, you'd be like, how the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck are you still here? My mom is so strong, but my personality is a lot like my dad's, and I'm more of a come hold me, love on me type of person. Whereas like my brother Zane, he can kind of take that sternness, and that's just, okay, well, I love you too, mom, So I didn't have that nurturing and loving mother growing up. And I think part of that is what kind of made me feel like, fuck, I don't know how to be a mom. Because
Right.
I didn't want to be the same mom as my mom. Don't get me wrong, she's strong and that's awesome, but I wanted to be different. But how do I know how to be different if I've never been shown different, right? So it was just kind of like I didn't want to fuck up my kids. I knew I was depressed. I felt like I wasn't ready even though it was too late because I'd already had them. Like there was so many things that went into my postpartum depression. And then come my son, it hit full-fledged. Actually, my daughter, Catalea, who is about to get real. So my daughter, Catalea, who's my second child, she's 3 now. When I had her, January 27th of 2019, about 4 months, no, wait. Yeah, no, 3 months after she was born, I was sexually assaulted. She was in the house when that happened. And I unfortunately and regrettably tied her to that so much that I couldn't even look at her. Because every time I looked at her, it reminded me of what happened, which is really, really fucked up. Okay. And these are my shadows right now. And then, moving forward to just not being in her life for God knows how long, really. I was barely in her life. I have my son. And fuck, like, now I'm raising a man. His dad's not even in his life, his biological father, So I gotta raise this guy to not be a fucking predator. And it fucked me up so much that I just went on this whirlwind of depression. I went on this whirlwind of partying and just numbing every fucking inch of pain that I had because I couldn't face the fact that, one, I was losing them, but 2, that I wasn't actually okay like I wanted everyone else to think that I was. And facing that reality of like, you're really not okay. Like, this really did fuck you up more than you thought it did. That shit hurts because then you start realizing through that all the people you've hurt, all the people that you've deceived, you've lied to, all the, just all the fucking pain that you've caused during that, whole season of just trying to fucking pretend shit ain't what it is. And I mean, I didn't want to face that. I didn't want to be honest and say, hey, I'm kind of fucking up. I'm hurting people. I'm not being the mom that I need to be. And fuck, man, like, it's
Let me ask you a question.
really fucking hard, man.
Let me ask you a question. What pushed you, or no, let me better phrase this. How did you overcome the postpartum depression? How did you overcome the guilt of not being there to being a great mom to not only your own biological children, but my biological children, your stepchildren as well?
If I'm being honest, what helped me overcome this was Sailor, Celeste, and Sable.
Those are my biological children, by
3
the way.
children that are not biologically mine, but showed me that I was worthy of being loved and that I could take care of them if it wasn't for them and for you allowing them in my life. Even though I was such a fuck up, I don't know if I'd be the mom that I am today. But those girls, along with, finding out I was pregnant with Evie and vowing that I was going to do it different this time, honest to God, that is what pulled me out. And then I started actually taking therapy seriously. I took it seriously.
Well, everybody deserves a second chance.
God, fuck, man, this is... I am so sorry. I didn't think I was going to cry like this, but I'm, like, really boo-hooing right now. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's transparency. You're crying, but you're also healing at the same time, you know?
God.
You're making friends with your shadow right now.
I'm, like, snot nose and everything.
Yeah. No, I want to say I'm fucking proud of you, not only for just like coming out on this podcast and talking about your traumas and talking about your shadows and being as transparent as you have been, but it's just, I'm proud of you, and it's a beautiful thing to watch you become a mother. I got to watch you be someone who wanted to party all the time, similar to myself.
You literally watched me become
and
a mom.
I watched you become and transform into a mother, and it's honestly been one of the most beautiful things in this entire marriage. But you know that you're a damn good mom. I mean, granted, no parents are perfect. We practice gentle parenting here. Our kids are loved. All of our kids, all 7 of them, love you to death. So for any women who are struggling with postpartum depression of any type,
even if it's not this severe,
yeah, just know that it's never too late to seek help, and it's never too late to try and do better by your children. It's absolutely never too late. I can speak on that for a perfect example. My biological mother, had postpartum depression after I was born. And, my situation was I kind of got yanked from her. And, she had all that guilt. But the perfect example is like she started playing mom for me when I was 18 years old, and I moved in with her.
Yeah.
And now me and my mother have one of the closest relationships ever. I had gone through almost my entire childhood with only one weekend visit every few months, with no relationship with her whatsoever, other than me being 14 years old and asking for a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And
now y'all are
and
so
now
close.
she's like my top 3 motivators and my top 3 people who are in my corner, So it's never too late to all of you moms and even dads.
Yes, thank you, because dads can also suffer from a form of postpartum depression as well. And a lot of that is that they kind of mourn the life they had before the child, because it's all about the mom and all about the child and things like that. So even fathers, man, like, it's not something to be ashamed of. Like, seek help. You don't always have to go on medication for postpartum, but if you're an extreme case like me, or you have psychosis or anything like that, you probably do need medication. And kind of going off what Brendan said, yeah, it as long as you have breath in your lungs, you can always turn it around.
Absolutely. Like, my biological mother, like I just said, she wasn't really mom until I was 18. Yeah. And my biological father, I mean, he wasn't even dad till I was 23 years old. And now me and him have a really fucking close relationship.
Listen, when I was going through court, I can't tell you how many times people in my family were like, I don't know if you're going to win this. It's not looking so good, this and that and this and that. And somehow, some fucking way, I won on the better end of it. And so it's like, I hope that yours doesn't get this extreme. But seriously, you can turn it around. Even if you have to go that extreme. Don't give up. Don't give up on your kids. And most importantly, if you feel like you want to end your life because it is too much, please don't do that. Please don't do that to those kids.
Kids need their mom and their dad, no matter what age they are, no matter what age you come into their life at. They're always going to need you. In
some way, form, or fashion. And you'll be surprised if, let's say you're a mom that's just not been there for, I don't know, let's just say highball at 16 years or something, right? You'd be surprised how much transparency can change things.
Absolutely.
If you were just honest and transparent with them, and you treat them with respect as a human, and treat them as you know that you've hurt them, right? You've got to validate people's feelings, okay? So no matter what, if you thought you were doing the right thing or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. Their feelings are still valid. You still hurt them in some way. If you can go into it with that space of love and understanding, you can still turn it around.
Absolutely.
Don't give up, man. Like, I wanted to give up. Don't give up. Because now, look at me. I got 7 beautiful fucking kids.
And they all fucking love you.
And at one point, I had no one.
And they all fucking love you. You're doing
I'm
great.
fucking... Damn! Woo! Shit! I'm so sorry. Somebody cutting onions in here.
Is that a wrap?
That's a fucking wrap.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching both episodes this week. We hope you enjoyed them. Much love. And we'll see you guys next week.
Much love.
I'm proud of you.
I'm gonna